You waited all week, and it's finally here. The Eat, Drink, Explore Weekly Travel Deals Extravaganza.
And a very good morning, everyone. Yes, you've waited all week, and this is a fantastic segment we have ahead for you because a lot of us travel and head to other countries where they don't take the U.S. dollar. In some cases, you can still use the U.S. dollar because it's a recognized currency that way. But in most cases, you need to switch it over. And how do you go about doing that? There are lots of different ways. But before we get to that with our guest, Ed Perkins, he's the money man for smartertravel.com. I just want to mention quickly our last guest, Deborah Cash with the Downtown Association, had so much great information, and we never got to the smart meters. And I do want to point out a few myths that are out there involving the smart meters in San Luis Obispo. This may not apply to your city if you have them as well. One is that when you pull away, if you still have time on the meter, it does not wipe clean. The minutes stay there for the next person that pulls in. So Deborah wanted to make that very clear. The other rumor that's going around is that when your meter expires, a text message is sent to the parking enforcement officer so that they can come ticket you right away. But she said that technology exists. They don't have it on these meters. And if you got a ticket immediately following your expiration, that just happened to be bad luck, that the parking enforcement officer was right there. And their goal is not to punish everyone, that what they're just trying to do is keep a flow of cars in the downtown core. And if you think you need longer term parking to use either the garages or there are some 10-hour spaces and that sort of thing, so just don't park in a 30-minute zone, or if you really need to stay longer than that amount of time. And so she and they don't reset, right, when you pull away. So now I do want to bring Patty Pyburn in on this segment because she just got back from Europe where she had to exchange a lot of money. I'm headed down to Mexico, so I've got some questions of my own. Ed Perkins joins us right now. He is the man that knows all about currency exchange and is with smartertravel.com. Great website if you've never checked it out. Welcome to the show, Ed.
It's nice to be with you.
Oh, thank you so much. I saw a piece in the Sacramento Bee on this topic, and you were one of the quoted people. And I thought, well, we need to get Ed on the show to talk about this. The last time I went to Europe, and I'm not sure how you went about it, Patty, I went to a bank machine at a local bank in Europe and just pulled out money like I would at an ATM here. And I was told that and then using my credit card was the best way to get is how you would get the best rate on exchanges. Would you say that that's true?
Yes, I would, definitely.
Oh, good. Well, then I got a good rate.
Good work.
But there are, however, differences from bank to bank, so you have to be aware of that.
And these would be charges just like if you used a bank that wasn't your bank here in the United States, you get slapped with some fees.
Exactly. Plus, in some cases, a conversion fee.
Oh, okay, to actually convert the money. So then it seems so funny that it costs you money to exchange money. But I guess, people have to make money somehow, right?
Yeah, and even if you get a bank that's has a fairly high charge, you're still better off using plastic than you are going up to a foreign exchange office.
Really? So, Patty, when you were over in Europe, did you charge a lot?
Well, there was an instance where I couldn't get money out of an ATM, and I did go to one of those exchange offices. And Ed, I think you're right, because I had to pay their transaction fee plus the rate the money was going for, and all that ended up being more expensive money. With my particular bank, and I learned the hard way, they just have a $5 ATM fee for pulling out money.
So you should do it
so that was
a lot of it at once.
The better way was to go to the ATM. And do you agree, Ed, taking out a larger amount at one time makes that more cost effective?
For most banks, yes. Yes, some banks charge a percentage rather than a flat fee, but in most cases they charge a flat fee, and a lot of banks don't even charge a flat fee under some circumstances. For example, a lot of smaller banks and savings institutions and so on.
Credit unions
do not surcharge foreign exchange. So it's a complicated problem in terms of I can't sit here and rattle off all the banks' charges, but there's plenty of information online, including some of my previous columns, about which banks have the better rates on ATM withdrawals.
What about the old school method of walking into your bank prior to your vacation and exchanging your money so that when you get on the plane and land there, you already have it in your wallet?
That's not, you can do that, but you're going to pay a worse exchange rate than if you waited till you get to your arrival airport and use an ATM.
Wow.
And most big international airports, now I can't say all, but most big international airports have ATMs, and both Visa and MasterCard have online locators to tell you exactly where in the airport each ATM is located.
That's fantastic. What are there countries where the U.S. dollar, I would assume, I know I've seen it happen in Mexico, I assume to some degree on border cities in Canada. Are there other countries that accept the U.S. dollar and you don't need to even exchange your money?
Well, it's generally true in the Bahamas, and it's the last time I was there, it was true in Israel, but that was several years ago, so I'm not sure now.
I know in Mexico, they simplified in their favor
yes.
the exchange rate to what was it, 10%, or like for instance, if it said it was 1,000 pesos, then they charged you $100 or $10. I can't remember, but they made it they simplified it when in reality it should have been more like $8 or $9.25 or something. So yeah,
they got the extra.
They got the extra. Right,
yeah, well, that's right, and. This is it brings up another issue, which is when you're traveling, say, in Europe, a restaurant or a merchant may offer to make out the charge in dollars, so, quote, you know what it is.
Right.
But the fact is you're going to pay a double penalty that way because the merchant will give you a lousy exchange rate on the write-up to dollars, and then your bank will charge you the foreign surcharge anyhow.
Ouch.
Ed, you were mentioning about using the ATM versus going into your bank ahead of the time. I thought I was being so prepared, and I did go into my bank before my trip, and I was told that I could get the foreign money, the pounds and the euros I needed, had I planned a week in advance, and the bank would have ordered them for me. So that little excursion to the bank a few days before my trip, and I thought, I'm going to be ready. It didn't really work.
Well,
yeah, but it did.
Some banks, and particularly in a big international city like New York or San Francisco and so on, some retail bank offices will have foreign currency on hand. But in other cases, a typical branch bank may not have any foreign currency in its drawers. So, yes, you have to give them an advance notice. But you really don't need to do that. You're just as well off waiting till you arrive and using an ATM at the airport.
Does anyone still do traveler's checks?
Right.
Not to my knowledge. In fact, I was in Europe a few months back, and I took over some traveler's checks that had been in a drawer someplace for several years. And I thought, what the heck, I'm going to go change these. I had a tough time finding somebody that even wanted to exchange them.
Yeah. Well, there was so much fraud associated with traveler's checks for a long time that I think it made people kind of skittish on it. Plus, we've just become so technologically.
Well, I don't use regular checks usually. Now, what do you do with the extra money that you bring back? My son, we got home and he said, oh, oops, Mom, sorry, I have a 20 euro in my pocket, which is like $30 or something.
Yeah, what do you do with that, Ed?
You usually have to pay a big penalty to try to exchange small amounts of foreign currency once you get back here. What I do, and what a lot more and more people that I know do, just simply put it in a drawer and wait till your next trip to Europe.
It gives you an excuse to travel again.
I got to spend this 20 euro.
Right. Ed Perkins with smartertravel.com. You can find all of his columns online for this exact topic. Ed, we really appreciate it. Quickly, like in 10 seconds, can you tell us where's the best exchange rate right now if we want to travel somewhere?
Well, Europe is pretty good now. The euro's down from about over $1.40 to around $1.20 now.
Awesome. That is good. All right, Ed Perkins, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Stick around, everyone. A whole nother hour of Eat, Drink, Explore Radio coming up next.